We've all heard of Blondie, right? Iconic American rock band. Just want to level set. So the keyboardist, Jimmy Destri, this guy here, I got to work with him.
Yeah.
So we needed to film an interview with Jimmy for a documentary. And this is a great opportunity to give you some insight into my work as a cameraman, how I work, what gear I use. And honestly, even though this is a doc shoot, this is how I work across a lot of different genres. Special thanks to Jimmy and the director Jason here for letting me film a little behind the scenes. So come along with me and let me show you how I set up this interview with Jimmy Destri of Blondie. So it starts with bringing in the gear, which I keep all on a single cart, tripods and light stands first, and then I set up the cameras, just getting all the settings matched. Now in this case, I'm using two Sony cameras, the A7S III and the FX6. I really like these cameras because they have great color, they shoot in a log format that's really easy to work with, they have flexibility in terms of time code, and the autofocus, as you'll see, really saves my bacon as an owner-operator solo shooter. Now, I work primarily with two lights, sometimes one, but in this case I got a little extra, an Aperture 300X bicolor LED light with a lantern attachment for a nice soft, expansive fill, and then I have a Kino 4-foot housing with two bicolor Quasar LED tubes inside. Now in this case, I'm using the Aperture as the key light, and then the Quasar I'm using just to lift the ambient exposure in the room by bouncing it against this white ceiling. And you can see here, the effect is very natural, but it's all lit. The background there would be very dark if I wasn't using the Quasar to bounce light into that area. And then Jimmy himself is being lit by the lantern attachment, which is again mimicking a very natural effect of sunlight just coming in through the window. Now, talking about audio, I use these Rode Wireless Pro units, super small, super easy to work with, 32-bit float so the recordings can never overload. They last for 10 hours on one battery charge. They can record for 8 hours, I think. And plugging into the transmitter unit is the most basic of lav microphones. This is just a simple Sennheiser lav mic that I've had for years. The pop screen fell off years ago, but they still work and sound great, in my opinion, as you'll hear in a sample later. So this I just clip to the front of the talent. I don't even try to hide the lav mic. Personally, I find that the sound is just way better if I can clip it to the outside of their clothing rather than using tape to hide the lav mic. Differing opinions out there, that's just what I like to do. It's also simpler, which I love. Now, monitoring the audio is also super simple. The receiver unit has a headphone output, so I literally just wear this thing while we're recording, and I use these little cheap earbuds that actually I think sound great. They give me a really good isolation from the ambient sound so I can hear really closely what the microphone is doing. This is super crucial when you're a solo shooter running sound. You have to listen to the audio at all times so you can catch any flubs or dropouts. Trust me, I know from experience. As soon as you're not listening, that's when the audio drops out and you're in trouble. So while we're recording, my job is really just to listen to the audio, make sure everything's going good, and let the cameras roll. Now, I mentioned the autofocus on these cameras is great. I really think that this has transformed the way that I shoot. The camera locks onto the face and does not let go. And it really frees me to focus on other things like the audio, like the lights, like making sure the batteries are charged, and making sure that anything else that might come up is taken care of.
You know, Blondie was not a critic's darling because we were looked at as a joke. You know, because we're this big, colorful, bright band that like to do surf sort of sounds.
So I hope you learned something on this little walkthrough. I gotta say, I love being a solo shooter, It's really fun just to take some simple tools and go to these different locations, listen to stories, and get some beautiful images. Again, super grateful to Jimmy and to our director, Jason, for having me aboard on this project. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time.